From chasing her dad to chasing Olympic dreams, alpine skier AJ Hurt grew up on the slopes of Palisades, Tahoe, where dad is on the ski patrol. She was basically on snow her entire childhood.
I was 16, I think, when I raced my first World Cup. And no one knows what they're doing at 16.
But with age came results. AJ is an 8-year U.S. ski team member, a 3-time national alpine champ, and Milan Cortina would be her second Olympics. We caught up with AJ during her off-season training in Tahoe to talk about how to set goals while still keeping some perspective about the rest of your life. I'm Deirdre Fitzpatrick, and on this Dying to Ask, the road to Milan Cortina. What AJ does during the summer to get ready for an Olympic year, the role music plays in relaxing her brain. Wait until you see the private concert we got in an historic Olympic chapel. And she has a ski bestie on the team that she grew up with in Tahoe, how her bond with Keely Cashman is like a superpower when they're on the road. Download Dying to Ask, the road to Milan Cortina on Apple or Spotify, or you can watch my interview with AJ Hurt right here. Well, AJ, thanks for joining us today.
Of course.
What does AJ stand for?
Stands for Amelia Josephine, actually.
Have you ever gone by Amelia Josephine, or has it always been AJ?
It's actually when I was younger, I went by Amy Jo, which is what my mom still calls me. But I, for the most part, just go by AJ.
You probably know you're in trouble if you hear the full thing, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So you're looking at going toward the second Olympics. Last time was Beijing, which was one of our pandemic games. And some people might say you kind of got ripped off of the full experience.
Right.
Although, from what I can tell, you still had a pretty good time while you were there.
I had so much fun, and I think typically I've heard that Alpine tends to stay somewhere else and they don't get to stay in a village, and we were able to stay with the bobsledders, and
they're fun.
They were super fun.
They're really
they were
fun,
awesome,
yeah.
and they were great to talk to. And so I don't know, I had a lot of fun. I mean, obviously the masks, no one liked the masks, and the testing was a lot of testing.
Yeah, but looking ahead to Italy, Milan Cortina is a part of the country or part of the world that I know you guys love.
Yeah.
And especially Northern California skiers have told me that they love it because they said there are a lot of similarities to where a lot of you grew up skiing in California. What is it about it that is so familiar, other than the obvious, and comforting?
I think that the weather, particularly just the sun and the warmth and the snow itself, is so familiar, and it's just really lovely.
Yeah.
To be in Cortina.
Is part of it just kind of the comfort part of it? Like, is it? I mean, everywhere you ski is beautiful for the most part. But is some of it like the culture and the welcoming of like the community? Does that change the experience as an athlete?
Totally. And yeah, I think the town of Cortina, they love having races there and they love having those events. And so it's so fun to be where you feel so welcome. And yeah, exactly.
It's really rare I do a Winter Olympic story in a morning short sleeves. But
yeah, I
know. we're doing this in the middle of summer. You guys are in your off-season training.
Right.
We're at Palisades, the mountain where you grew up. What are summers like for an athlete, for a ski racer? Like, what are you guys doing in the off-season to get ready to head back skiing here in the next couple of weeks?
We're doing a lot of working out. A lot of working out.
So is that like a lot of gym time? Is it cardio? Like, what are you doing?
Mostly a lot of gym, a lot of lifting and strength workouts. We're doing a lot of bike workouts that typically are on a bike inside, which is not very fun. No. Which can get a little bit monotonous, but it's good to do. It feels good once you're done, but I don't typically look forward to the workouts. We're doing it for the skiing. But no, it's fun when we usually go into Park City in Utah, and it's nice because we have a good crew out there, so everyone's working out together, and it's a good environment and culture out there. Is it building
up muscles that you need for skiing, or is it just maintaining fitness, like at this point?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's funny because we always say how we work out so hard all summer, and then you go back on snow for the first time in a few months, and that first run, you're like, did I work out at all? My legs are so tired.
I think you're making every recreational weekend skier feel better about that, because those first couple of runs are brutal.
I'm convinced there's nothing you can do off snow to really prepare you for on snow. Like, all you can really do is ski.
Does it feel so good when you get back on snow?
So good. I feel like always that first day I'm like, okay, now I remember why.
This is why.
I do all yeah.
This is the why.
It makes all the working out worth it, for sure.
You've been on this mountain. We're at Palisades, Tahoe, and Olympic Valley. You've been on this mountain since you were probably born.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, you literally were part of Take Your Kid to Work Day, because your dad was a ski patroller here.
Yeah, he was.
So what are your first memories of skiing?
My first, I just remember being here. I remember like going on the mountain with him and going into all the patrol shacks at like the top of KT, and just him taking me on all the fun, like all the little secret different little tracks, and learning every inch of the mountain as at like quite a young age, and that was really cool.
Did you always love it? Because I have two boys who love skiing, but I remember dropping them off for skiing, and there were a couple days where it was just a sea of crying children who had to be bribed into this wonderful day on the mountain. Did you always love it?
Yeah, I think I always really loved it. I mean, I definitely wasn't one of the ones crying when I was getting brought there. I was more crying when I was leaving, so.
Didn't have to be bribed with the lollipop.
No, definitely not.
When did like taking skiing to that next level start to enter your brain and become like a real goal? Like, when did you go, I think I want to go as far as I can go in this?
I think it's hard to say. I was in like the Mighty Might program growing up here, where you're just free skiing a bunch, but we would have races maybe 3 times a year. I actually have no idea, but I always loved racing so much, because I think I've always just been a really competitive person, and I was definitely a competitive child, and that was always the highlight. I always looked forward to those races. And then growing, like as I got older, I realized I could just do racing, and I could get more into that, and then I just kept growing up and kept seeing how much further I could go in it, and eventually, seeing Julia and seeing Bryce and Marco, it's like, oh, I want to do that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're naming out some of the most recent Olympic athletes, and there is like such a legacy here. Is that
Totally.
That Tahoe influence? Is it a lot of pressure, or is it just motivation?
I think it's more motivation than pressure. I've never really felt like that much pressure, especially from Tahoe and the community, to like, oh, you have to do this in order to, like, because of the reputation, oh, you're a Tahoe athlete, whatever. I think it's more like, oh, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that community. I want to be them, who they were, to me when I was growing up, and I want to be that. And so, I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, it does. I mean, because you're talking about community support.
Yeah.
Which is kind of amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Did your dad ever bust you as a ski patroller for going too fast?
Oh, yeah.
Was he kind of proud of you at the same time?
I think I remember, this is really bad. We were training up on Mats up in Siberia, and I think I was going down the mountain run probably a little too fast, and I wasn't really paying attention, and some ski patrol, when I got to the bottom, came up to me, started yelling at me. And then at some point he realized who my dad was, and he was like, oh God. And then my dad made me sit beside him like the next day on the mountain run as he was slowing all the other racers down, and I was so embarrassed.
But you remember it.
Oh, I remember it.
But
vividly.
you remember it. One thing that has like come up over the last couple of years is just kind of the sheer cost of some sports, and youth sports particularly. Yeah. Hard to find one that's even more expensive than skiing.
Seriously.
Skiing is really, really expensive to do, especially because of the travel that's involved.
Yeah.
Your parents, it seems like, were really crafty about it. I mean, I've heard that they really worked with other parents to figure out a way to support dreams.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it was huge having my dad be here, and that helped with a lot of past costs and all that kind of stuff. And I think there was a lot of people in Tahoe that were in similar situations, and there were people who were older than us that would give us suits and old gear and stuff, which would help a ton, because I feel like the gear is some of the most expensive parts. And I don't know, there's so many, like Tahoe Ski Education Foundation had so many good scholarships, and they helped me a ton growing up, and still go to I haven't been to their like fundraiser in a long time, but it's a great fundraiser that they have in the Valley, actually. And I like to at least give some sort of suits or gear back, because they really changed my life as a kid. So.
Because it does take a community really to kind of raise a racer these days.
Totally, and it takes you have to get pretty far in order to finally not be paying a lot of money.
Yeah.
So.
In the sport, there has been a real push toward mentorship, it seems like, particularly on the women's side. Mm-hmm. What are the great advantages of that, and why is it so important for racers, not only like who are still in the sport, to mentor each other, but also those who have kind of graduated out of it?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much, when you're like 14 or 15, you start going on these big trips and you go away from home and you kind of have to grow up really fast, which, I mean, for me, honestly, that was hard, and I struggled with remembering things and having that sort of responsibility. And I think it's nice to talk to someone and see someone who has been through that and knows how, like, what should you do, what should you remember, like, what's the best way to do all these things. And the best, I mean, I think I was 17 when I first had to not be home for Christmas, and that was really hard. And it's nice to talk to someone who's like, yes, it's hard at first, but you get used to it, and who just has kind of gone through it and can walk you through it.
Have you found yourself in the role of mentor now?
I think a little bit. I don't know if I feel quite prepared to fully mentor someone, but there's definitely some younger girls on the team who I really like, and I try to do my best to, if they have any questions, but they seem more self-sufficient than I was at their age. So
They always do.
yeah.
What's the one thing you wish you would have known when you were a younger skier about that path going from making it to the U.S. ski team and then making it to an Olympics? Like, what do you wish you would have known about that experience?
I think I wish I would have known that there's not really any rush. I felt like I put so much pressure on myself to try to be like so young and try to be the best at a young age, when there was really, I could just take my time and enjoy every part of it and know that it would come eventually, and I don't need it all right now, you know.
I was like 40 before I figured that out, so it's like, good on you for getting that early. That's awesome. You also have an interesting other thing that you've done, and that is like going to college, which isn't always possible for a lot of people in winter sports. Talk a little bit about like going to Dartmouth and even what you're studying and where that interest came.
Yeah, honestly, I've always wanted to go to Dartmouth, and I think initially it was because my mom is a teacher, and she always kind of ingrained into me and my brother's heads how important school was and how important it is to get an education. And I also loved skiing, and I was like, oh, it's got a great ski team. I want to go ski at Dartmouth. And of course, I haven't actually skied there, but I still managed to go, which has been so amazing. And there's actually a lot of other girls on the ski team who have done the same thing, so it's been nice to like kind of follow in their footsteps. And there's a few other girls that are a little younger than me doing the same thing. But it's so good to be able to have something in the springs after the season and kind of be able to turn your like ski racing brain off and have something else to think about and focus
on something fun like electrical engineering. Yeah. What is it you love about engineering?
I was definitely more of a math and science oriented person growing up. Still am. Wasn't a big writer at all. It was never where I thrived in school. And I took some engineering classes, took some math classes, and I realized I definitely did like that a lot more. And I kind of fell into electrical, and kind of accidentally almost, but it's such a puzzle, and it's so interesting learning about how everything is working, and I don't know, I really enjoy it. So
is there a similarity between the way you even piece together a race or a course?
Yeah,
or even a season?
Definitely like the physics of it all is so similar, and like ski racing is also a puzzle of some sorts, so it's not too different.
That's a good puzzle.
Yeah.
Is that where music comes in for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I don't like. Are you talking about the piano?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love playing the piano. I obviously don't get to play too much on the road, just with access to it. Mm-hmm. But every once in a while, we'll have a hotel that'll have one, and it's pretty awesome to be able to play. But so it does like it has a very calming effect for sure.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to you here in the next couple of months. Thanks for doing this with us today.
Of course, thank you.
Thanks for checking out Dying to Ask, The Road to Milan Cortina. You can take the show on the go by downloading it on Apple or Spotify, and you can always watch it on YouTube.